Hey, welcome back everybody. Paisley Imperfect here again today. And today we're going to talk about something that can get a little heated. My goal is to approach it with logic and understanding, but if you feel that I misrepresent something, please let me know. It is never my intention to make anyone feel excluded or unwanted. And I'm going to introduce it with a quote from Elder D. Todd Christofferson. He said, "An area of concern comes from those who, in the name of equality, want to erase all differences between the masculine and the feminine. Often this takes the form of pushing women to adopt more masculine traits, be more aggressive, tough, and confrontational. It is now common in movies and video games to see women in terribly violent roles, leaving dead bodies and mayhem in their wake. It is soul-numbing to see men in such roles, and certainly no less so when women are the ones perpetrating and suffering the violence." As women, I fear that we have done ourselves a bit of a disservice. We are equal to men. We always have been. But equal does not mean the same. Before you freak out, please understand, we have not always been equal in the eyes of the law. We have not always been equal in the eyes of men. And we have not always been equal in our own eyes. I need to be very clear in stating that that is not what I mean. What I do mean is that as women, our roles are different and distinct from the roles of men. They are not less. They are not more. They are equal and different. Both sets of roles are needed and necessary for our society to properly function. And because of that need for both of those roles to exist and to be working together, because of that need is what makes those roles equal. Still does not make them the same. It just makes them equal. And before somebody decides to tell me that this is a purely Mormon view, here are a few more quotes from people who are not members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that support what Christofferson is saying. Don't worry, I'll link out to him in the show description too, so you'll be able to learn more if you want to. The first one comes from Pope John Paul II in 1988. He said, "The personal resources of femininity are certainly no less than the resources of masculinity. They are merely different. Hence, a woman, as well as a man, must understand her fulfillment as a person, her dignity and vocation on the basis of this principle." He also said, "Women's contribution is uniquely valuable, and the equal dignity of men and women is realized in their unique roles." I think that supports what I said before, that our society needs both of those roles as distinct and different. And that need is what makes them equal. The second quote comes from, and I'm probably going to butcher this name, I apologize, someone named Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie in a TED Talk titled, "We Should All Be Feminists." She said, "I think the most honest answer is that women and men are different, and we should embrace those differences instead of trying to erase them." Embrace versus erase. And one more. This one comes from a guy named Jordan Peterson. He's a clinical psychologist and professor. And he said, "Men and women are more alike than they are different, but the differences are significant. They're complementary, not competitive." So we have been given these roles and responsibilities and the capabilities to fulfill them, and we were given the roles, responsibilities, and capabilities before we came to this planet. It's part of the plan. It's part of our Heavenly Father's plan for us. We don't have to be the same to be equal. So the quote that I shared at the beginning from Elder Christofferson came from a talk that he gave back in 2013 titled "The Moral Force of Women." And while I know that we already have a huge list of things that we're trying to work on from Presidents Kimball and Nelson, Elder Christofferson shares a quote from a former General Young Women's President, Margaret Dina Dald, and she adds a few more that I'm going to put on our list. She said, "The world has enough women who are tough. We need women who are tender." Notice she didn't say strong. She said tough. The world has enough women who are tough. We need women who are tender. The world has enough women who are coarse. We need women who are kind. There are enough women who are rude. We need women who are refined. We have enough women of fame and fortune. We need more women of faith. We have enough greed. We need more goodness. We have enough vanity. We need more virtue. We have enough popularity. We need more purity. And then Elder Christofferson adds to the end of that quote. He says, in blurring feminine and masculine differences, we lose the distinct complementary gifts of women and men that together produce a greater whole. I've been told that I tend to oversimplify my analogies, but I'm going to share one anyway. I love food. I love lots of different kinds of food. I love Mexican food, Chinese food, Italian food. I love Filipino food, Southern barbecue, fish and chips. I'm not really a fan of Mediterranean. It doesn't really like me either. But other than that, I generally just love food. What would happen if we took all of those different and distinct kinds of food and tried to make them all equal? In the world's definition of equal, meaning the same. What would happen if we told the Mexicans that they couldn't use cumin or cilantro in their cooking anymore? What if we told the Italians no more basil, no more thyme, no more oregano? What if we said everybody can only have white rice, no butter, no soy sauce, no salt, just plain old white rice, no brown rice, no frying it. You have to cook it all the same way. You can only eat vegetables on the side and only the ones that are currently in season for your area. That's not even the same. We can't make bread anymore because it would be different in different regions throughout the world and different based on your economic status. So we can't have bread. We can only have rice and vegetables. That's not what equal means. That's what the same means. But we're not the same. We are not meant to be the same. We are different. We are meant to be different. But that's what we're trying to do in getting the women and getting the roles of women and men to be exactly the same. Instead of embracing our differences and being able to go have Mexican food for lunch and Italian food for dinner, we are trying to make them all the same. I mean, as a society, I think that we are finally starting to learn how to embrace different kinds of cultures, their traditions, their different kinds of food, their different ways of doing things. We are finally starting to learn how to do that. I mean, how do you think I've tasted so many different kinds of food, right? But if we can't learn to embrace them and start trying to make them all the same, we will end up with a very bland menu. And like I said, I know, oversimplified. There are so many complications in that, right? We would have to, in order for men's roles distinct and different from women's roles distinct and different, in order for them to be held to the same standard, to be seen as equal, we would have to erase things like selfishness, pride, arrogance, dishonesty, laziness, intolerance, unreliability, rudeness, vanity, popularity. Some of those things are starting to sound a little familiar. But as a closing reminder, here's how we can do it. Going back to that quote from Nadal, be women who are tender, kind, refined, and good. Have faith, virtue, and purity while strongly defending and protecting children and families. We can do that. And if you ask me, that is the true definition of femininity. Thank you for being here with me again today. Keep learning, keep growing, and be strong and of good cheer. Until next time.